UFC Fight Night, Sandhagen versus Figueiredo just ended like about half an hour ago, maybe a little bit less than half an hour ago, and I decided to give my post-fight reaction to it. And man, I didn't expect Figueiredo to get or Davison Figueiredo to get dominated that much. Like I did predict Corey Sandhagen would have won because I thought that Davison was just starting to catch up in age, and Corey Sandhagen, I thought he looked really good last time when he fought against what's his face again? Umar Nurmagomedov. Like, I thought he looked really good. And I predicted that, oh, maybe he can strike a little bit of him. He can grapple. But, like, man, it's crazy how Corey Sandhagen went from a guy being known for, like, being a particular striker, knocking people out with flying knees and shit. And now he's over here, like, turned into, like, Corey Sandhagen D1, like, Corey Nurmagomedov. You know what I'm saying? It's like his grappling got really good. And it's surprising, really, how good his grappling has gotten. I mean, man, as weird as it is to sound, I feel like the hardest matchup for Merab right now is actually Sandhagen. And I was thinking, I would have loved to see Figueiredo versus Merab at one point. I was saying, like, before Figueiredo actually fought Peter Yan, I was thinking, like, come on, man, like, Figueiredo versus Merab, like, that's a fight. And I also wanted to see Figueiredo actually even get a title shot, like, at least once. But now, after that weird little injury, and after getting dominated by Sandhagen pretty badly, I think maybe like Figueiredo landed like maybe a couple shots at most. Like, I think he landed like 0 shots in round 2. I might be wrong, where I think he landed like 1 or 2 shots in round 1, which is really bad now that I think about it. I think Sandhagen has just involved his game so much. Ironically enough, I think he's starting to hit his prime, despite being at a later age. Normally, UFC fighters hit their prime around 31, 32. Sandhagen is 33. It's a little bit later. But I think nowadays, athletes are starting to mature later, Like Alexander Volkanovski is one of those examples where athletes are starting to, like, mature, and they're not hitting their prime as earlier as some people are, or they do, but their primes last longer. For example, Volkanovski is the first fighter to break the 155 and under curse ever. And it happened a couple times at welterweight with Tyron Woodley and Bilal Muhammad. But this is the first fighter that we ever heard that's hitting their prime later. Won the belt at 36 years old, I believe. If you ask me, I don't think Volkanovski's going to actually defend the belt properly, though. I think if he tries to defend it one more time, he's probably going to lose. Probably loses to Movsar Evloev. But I think what you do now with Sandhagen is you probably give him a title shot. You give him a title shot against the winner of Sean O'Malley versus Merab. And, I really do feel like this is a 50-50 fight for some odd reason. I kind of have a feeling that Sean could maybe pull it off after getting in the cage with Merab. I feel like Merab is just starting to maybe be a little bit too lax, enjoy life too much. And you got to remember, too, at bantamweight, I think Merab is maybe like a couple months away from turning 35 or some shit like that. And again, 35 and 155 and over curse or under. It happened at featherweight, hasn't happened yet at lightweight, hasn't happened yet at bantamweight or flyweight. It could actually happen with flyweight Alexander Pantoja. Pantoja is so good that I actually have trouble seeing him dethroned. The only guy I can see him losing against might be like Manel Kape, and even Kape is a little bit older. I think Kape is like 32. But yeah, that's the fight to make. For Davison, it's unfortunate he got a shoulder, or not shoulder, his knee broken in by the new Sandhagen, pretty much Nurmagomedov Sandhagen. And I think it's kind of like over for Davison. I don't really think he's going to be in the title contention anymore. He might be like a gatekeeper, but usually when you get an injury with your knee, yeah, you're pretty much out for like the next year. And at 37 years old, or I think 38, I think it's over for Figueiredo or Davison. I think he's only going to have maybe like 1 or 2 more fights if he doesn't retire, maybe like be a gatekeeper. But I think his title contention dreams are over. And, that's not really a big issue. It's not like the end of the world because he already used to be a champ. I think he was champ twice. He defended his title twice. He pretty much did better than most UFC fighters will ever do. You were champ at 125. You were champ twice, I believe, and you defended the title twice. What more could you ask for? Like, sure, it would have been cool if Davison would have been able to defend the title more, but like the whole Moreno trilogy, or not trilogy, quadrilogy was really fun. But now I think the guy who's going to GOAT status, if he keeps racking up title defenses, is Alexander Pantoja, which I think he has a decent chance of doing it. Anyways, that's it for the main event. Let's talk about the co-main event. Looks like Bo Nickal got fraud checked by Rainier de Ritter. Man, the whole fight was interesting. Like, I wanted Bo Nickal to lose because, I'm a hater. I can't stand Bo Nickal. I feel like Bo Nickal is, like, just talks too much. Like, he went on a podcast, like, a year ago, talked about how he, like, pushed off two guys that were like world champ material in wrestling, and like it was no big deal. And like I just feel like, man, Bo is such a bullshitter. He's so fucking painfully fake. And I was actually rooting for the Ritter. I actually picked the Ritter to win. I didn't actually make a prediction videos because I make too many prediction videos. But I picked Ritter to win, but I didn't expect it to be like that. I mean, Ritter, you know, he got that Dutch white boy strength. Like, I know they're both white, but it's like, it's a different kind of strength when you're from, like, the Netherlands or whatever, Dutch. Like, he just got that crazy strength, man. It's like Drickus. Drickus is also, like, someone who's supposedly from Dutch descent, and he's just, like, so strong. But man, he landed like a couple left hands when he had Bo Nickel up against the clinch, and I was like, those don't look that hard. Does the Ritter have like some crazy strength where he's actually like really hitting the hell out of Bo Nickel? Like they didn't even look like he was trying to hit him that hard, but Bo just had like a really terrible reaction to it for some odd reason. I can't tell if Bo just has like bad reaction to strikes or whatever, or the Ritter actually hits really hard for the division and we don't even know about it. I have a feeling the Ritter actually hits harder than we think he does. And that's one of the reasons why Bo just reacted weirdly. No, but he hit him like with a couple left hands against the clinch that he landed. I believe it was like a left hook. And he ended up going for a knee to the body, but ended up hitting Bo Nickel's liver. And like Nickel just gave up on it right there, like crawled up against the fence in the fetal position almost. And I'm glad, you know, I was getting tired of Bo hearing how I was going to make like Hamzat look like a fool or whatever. If you ask me, Hamzat doesn't lose to anyone in the division besides maybe Drickus. Hamzat is in his prime. I think he's 33 years old, 32. Middleweights usually hit their prime a little bit later. I think the only person able to beat Hamzat is Drickus, but it's good to see the Ritter fraud check Bo Nickel, and I can't wait to see the Ritter fight more because I eventually think he can actually challenge for a title, especially with his record at just 20 wins and 2 losses. 2 losses is pretty great. Then you go to the rest of the card. You got Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Daniel Rodriguez. I actually missed out the ending sequence of this fight because I was with my family and I had to pause it real quick just to see what they were talking about. But apparently Ponzinibbio was like against the stoppage, even though people were saying that Ponzinibbio was actually like knocked out cold for some odd reason and like he was just complaining about it. You know, I actually thought Rodriguez was gonna win. I thought Ponzinibbio is just too old and he couldn't put it together. But I thought it was going to be a decision win, not a knockout. That was all right, now that I think about it. Then you had like a bit of a stinker in Montel Jackson versus Daniel Marcos. Yeah, that fight was boring. I'm glad that Montel Jackson won because Marcos was just like grappling heavy and then wasn't really doing anything, if I remember correctly. Then you had Cameron Smutterman versus Sirhai Sydney at bantamweight. Wasn't really memorable. This was a decent fight at lightweight. Jeremy Stevens coming out of retirement, I'm pretty sure, to fight Mason Jones. Jones won the decision, but it was a good fight. I had fun watching it. But let's see. Let's look at the prelim cards. Ryan Loader versus Asmat Bakuyev was a decent fight too. But like most of the fights at the prelims weren't really that good. Only 2 fights were really good. Lee Kung, Gaston Bolanos, and Ryan Loader and versus Asmat Bakuyev. The rest of the fights were just bum. I know Misha Tate was in this fight, but I don't really care about women's MMA. You guys know that's like the theme of my account. I don't really care about women's MMA. I love repeating that line. Anyways, it was a decent fight card. Some of the fights were absolute stinkers though. But I'm just happy to see that Corey Sandhagen is up for a title shot, especially how impressive his grappling look. And Rainer the Ritter fraud check Bo Nickel. That's the best thing to come out of this card. Anyways, that's it for this video, guys. I just wanted to discuss like my post-fight reaction, talk about it, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.